Hey everybody, welcome back to another video featuring my newly acquired Chinese Type 56 SKS that was sent to Albania. I found some more information about this. I found the year it was manufactured, which it's got a 10 million prefix, which means it was made in about 1965, and is going to be one of the first Type 56s to actually have a spike bayonet, not a blade. Very interesting, very cool. So this thing's been around the block a few times. Factory 26 manufactured. It's Genshin or whatever. I can't pronounce it, so whatever. It is what it is. You can look that up and try and pronounce it yourself if you're an English speaker. Anyway, so if you haven't watched the other two videos that I made on the unboxing and the actual like degreasing of this thing, go ahead and do that, but watch this first, and then you're gonna look back and be like, oh wow, this is kind of funny to see how I discovered all this information. So we'll start it off with kind of just showing you, hopefully this gets it. There's a name carved in the stock when I received the rifle, and I'm all about that stuff, and I was like, yay, it's a battlefield trench art kind of thing. And I got to talking with a YouTube viewer, Ace, that's how he said he pronounces his name. He's from Albania, and we've been corresponding for a while, hopefully maybe working out some deals to get some Albanian surplus in the US, but that's a different subject. Anyway, so Ace saw this, and he was telling me that Vlore, whatever, I don't know how you pronounce it, that's what it says in there, is actually a town in Albania, or a city rather. And I was like, oh, that's cool, and I got it from a couple other YouTubers that are from Albania, probably. And they were saying that Albanians really didn't graffiti the stocks. They didn't carve into them because, just like US weapons, they're state or government property, and you have to turn them back in, and they're not going to like it too much if you get your name carved into it, and they have to issue it out to another soldier or replace the stock, etc., etc. So that got to me thinking a little bit, and if it would have been sent to Kosovo, which a lot of these were, it would be Cyrillic. It wouldn't be, letters that look very Western. The Albanian language is very interesting. It's got a lot of umlauts and stuff, but it's the Roman alphabet, I guess it would be. And so basically I can read this just fine, right? It translates into characters that I can read as an English speaking and reading person. So that was interesting too. So what Ace did was he actually contacted a friend of his who used to work in the army in Albania in the archives department, and he knows people who still work in the archives, so he called them, so it's a friend of a friend, and actually looked up the name of Leonard Rakipi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't speak Albanian. I mean, I've seen Taken and all that stuff, but I still am not fluent, so whatever. But Leonard Rakipi, which is really weird, because he actually came back with a hit on a record. So this is what I got from him. I've kind of gotten this, I've taken some things out and added a couple things to make it make more sense. Ace, your English is really good for a non-English speaking person, but the grammar was kind of, I didn't understand it, and then I put it together, and it was like, okay, so I just wrote it. It's not your exact words, but this is what he said. This is what we got, and we talked for a little while. So Leonard Rakipi. In 1997, a bunch of weapons depots were being looted by civilians. Apparently it was just a total shit show in Albania in 1997. So civilians were raiding military supply depots and grabbing AKs and SKSs and whatever else they could get their hands on. They were on the verge of anarchy and stuff like that. So it was just a total shit show. And I did know a little bit about that, but not. I hadn't done a lot of research on that. I knew there was some unrest, if we'll put it lightly. But anyway, so and I already addressed the carving on the stocks wasn't really allowed back then. So, and the ones that he has seen that there was carving in the stocks from Albanian soldiers is just like an eagle or something, so it could be reissued without, any issues. So, Leonard Rakipi was born in 1968, okay? So he would have been about 29, 30 years old in 1997, 98, around that time period when all this shit was going down. He had served time in he served time in the People's Army in the earlier years, because if you were 18 before 1991 or whatever, or after, I mean, basically, you're 18, you're in the military if you're not in college in Albania. So he spent some time in the military, and then when he got out of the military, presumably, he became part of a gang, like a very kind of violent, shitty gang in Albania, and he committed multiple offenses with this gang, including theft, armed robbery, organized crime in general, and murder. So in 1998, he was arrested, charged with a lot of these, and sentenced to 22 years in prison in 1998. Very interesting. So this guy got 22 years, which is a really short sentence for all the aforementioned crimes that he was charged with and presumably convicted of. So this weapon, it seems, was confiscated along with a bunch of other weapons that were stolen from government depots at that time, and he decided to carve his name into there in the city he was in at the time of him doing his horrible acts of violence and theft and just victimization across the board. So it's really weird. It's there's also a possibility that he got this before 1997 because some of these got into the hands of gang members and stuff before then, but it wasn't on a large scale. So presumably what makes sense is that this was acquired in 1997 with a bunch of other weapons because at that time it was such a shit show that nobody really knew what was going on. Weapons go missing before that. They're gonna be able to figure it out easier, but yeah, so we're gonna presume that from the information we've gathered. None of this is a fact. This is just the records that we know. We know a few facts, and then we're kind of just trying to figure this out. So he carved his name in there, and then this was confiscated with a bunch of other weapons. He was released in 2015 for good behavior. So apparently in Albania, if you kill people, are part of organized crime, commit armed robberies, and steal shit, you get 17 years in prison, and then get out on good behavior. I know Ace and I were talking about that. It's a pretty short sentence for that many crimes. No info on how it got to the U.S. So what we're thinking is, the police or the army actually that arrested him probably just returned it to the weapons arsenal that it was stolen from, or another weapons arsenal depot, and it probably got exported with the rest of these that were military property and then sold as surplus recently to the U.S. And there's no way at all to prove if this weapon was actually used in any murders. I'm hoping not, because I don't like that. But again, most of my surplus weapons have probably killed people, so there's always that risk when you deal with surplus. But now this is kind of an interesting story because, like, if you look online, I couldn't find anything, and he said that this name is pretty sure it's the same person. So. Yeah, because they confiscated so many weapons with this, it probably wasn't used to murder someone, or it was probably used in like an armed robbery or something like that. So it's not really the military surplus story you'd expect from a military surplus firearm, right? So this was in the military at one point in Albania and used for many years. As you can see, it's nice and worn. And a frickin' thug, a gang member, decided to carve his name and make his mark on this rifle because, screw you, I guess. But very interesting piece, and this story is worth about as much as me telling you this, but it's better than nothing. At least we were able to look this person up, and it came back immediately, so it wasn't like they had to go through a list of a bunch of people with the same name. It was pretty obvious who it was. Yeah, very... very interesting story on this. This is the first weapon that I actually have, somewhat provenance on what its origins were and what the stock carving means. So, again, I'm really happy to have this in the collection, and if this story is true, it's messed up, it's fucked up, but it's actually very interesting, and I can assure you this will never kill anybody again or be used in a crime to hurt somebody ever again. This is going to be used for fun, and that's about it. So this thing is officially retired from its killing service, if you will. It's going to kill a lot of paper, but that's about it. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I was really kind of surprised, and I got a knot in my stomach when I found that out, because it's not good. But now, like I said, I'm just going to do my part by retiring this thing, and it's never going to kill or hurt anybody again. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, not saying this story is 100% true. He's about 95% sure that this is accurate. And that's who it was and who actually carved his name into this stock, which is really interesting. That's a pretty decent margin of being certain. So I don't know if I believe it. I do and I don't want to believe it because it's good. It's just weird. A lot of emotions with this, but anyway, it's in my hands now, and I'll probably not leave my collection ever because it's got that story and that weird kind of dark past to it, but I'm sure a lot of surplus guns have darker pasts. Anyway, I'll wrap this up, stop ranting. I really like this thing, and I'll be making more videos on this because it's an SKS that is not a Yugo M5966, and it's actually just the standard SKS, so we'll talk about Vietnam in relation to Vietnam with these, and just the SKS in general as time goes on. So really glad I got this. It's officially retired. It's in my hands. I'm not a criminal. I'm not going to hurt anybody with it. So very good. And Leonard Rakipi, if you're actually watching this for whatever reason in the world, thanks for the rifle. Glad you stole it so it got exported to the US. Good job. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. If you would consider supporting my work, the channel on the many different ways you can do that in the description, please do that. Please check that out. It helps keep the channel going. Helps me be able to grab stuff like this to make informational videos and actually go to the range with this thing. And yeah, just it makes me feel like my work is actually appreciated and that it's worth my while. So yeah, if you go and check that out, that'd be great. Anyway, I'll wrap this up for the 10th time I said that. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I thought it was interesting. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next video.